Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 14th episode of The Dragon's Den. I am your host, Dragon's Fury, aka Shadow, aka Show, aka Sun. For all of the newcomers as well, we have Infernal,
Yo.
and we hope you are having a good weekend to begin. Maybe? Yeah, Friday, yeah.
Yes, no,
Um,
maybe so.
this goes live Friday. So we hope that you are looking forward to your weekend. If this starts your work week or is the beginning of it, we hope this helps you get a good start into that. And we are, let's see, what updates. Yes. Infernal is recovering from the disease of moving.
It is not fun. I am still working on getting this stuff together. I've finagled my workstation together for this. It is all a mess.
It's almost, but this is how much he cares. He somehow put his life together enough so that we could record our episode today. So, yeah, yes. Let's see what else.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I feel so dead.
For those who've listened to the episode, Zuko is a registered asshole. Um,
Nothing new there.
Nothing new there. But he's registered. Long story short, first day at the vet, just to get set up to for his first vet meeting and checkup and all that, takes a shit on the lobby floor.
Oh, wait, really?
Yes,
Oh
his
no.
the people that are going to take care of him
Oh
for the
no.
rest of the time that we are in this city or nearby, that's their first impression that he took a dump on the floor. And
This shitty
he
dog.
looked us in the eye when he did it. This is why he's a registered asshole. He was already on trial for murder of his toy, and now he is
Rest
being
in peace, fish.
charged for public defamation. Defecation. There we go.
Oh, Jesus. God, that's bad.
Yeah, I, I do love him so, but also he's such an asshole. It's ridiculous how much of an asshole he is. Um, Mermaid has officially signed off on this because she is now aware of the amount he rips ass, and she didn't believe me before, but
How
I
do you
told her.
not believe a dog letting loose?
Because she didn't hear it, she didn't know, and that's how he.
There is a phrase for that. It's called silent but deadly.
Nah, it's not deadly, but it's silent and it's problematic because it doesn't really stink per se. It just alters the air chemistry. Like
That's even worse. Silent but lethal.
you're in there like, wait a minute, like did he just try to chloroform me? Like it's bad. So yeah, she is now a witness to his shenanery in that regard. So yes, he is a registered asshole. For those who care about the life and livings of Zuko. And on the same front, we got him a new bed because we're trying to get it where he can sleep in the room with us, so he's not whining in the middle of the night and actually will go to sleep. So fingers crossed that works. But who knows?
I mean, there are ways to I guess, train dogs so that way they don't like they can sleep in like certain areas perfectly
Well,
fine.
yeah, but also he's only been living with us for a month. That's
Mm,
it. That's a lot of things to get used to in only a month, and you don't.
true.
So like, no, like people, like there's people. What was it? Leah being one of them. Like she can't sleep well in a hotel room. It, even though we've slept in multiple hotel rooms over the years, she still has trouble sleeping in a hotel room. Like some things you just don't get over and or adjusted to. So like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. So I attempted to reach out to the r/gaming community and got no reply. But to be fair, it is a giant sea of users in that subreddit, so I wasn't really expecting much. But the topic is that of storytelling and subsequently unsung heroes. And that can be with anything, not just games, but like we've said before, games is just like our topic because that's what is core and common amongst all participants and individuals of this show. But it, it can span out elsewhere as well. So I asked some of my, and by some I mean the one, the individual that is designated Vanilla Gorilla. He will
That
be
name.
that name. Yeah, he'll be on an episode at one point. I just need the freaking set up Discord on his phone and tell him to show up, but I never do because we get distracted with other nonsense that we send each other. That of like what stories that come to mind. The question I posed in the subreddit was, what's the best story in the genre? So I was a little bit more specific so that it wasn't like a giant cluster of possibilities, but that was a stretch even of itself to even get a reply. So it's whatever. Let's see. So the first things that came to mind for him was Last of Us, mainly the series, which for the most part follow the games, as I heard, fairly well. Like it gave good representation of the game story.
Yeah, from what I've heard and seen, like they definitely did a good job with the live action. They definitely obviously twist things a little just for like creative purposes, but they did it well, where it still stayed true to the story. Um, they also used a lot of lines from the games, which was great to see. Um, I was I Me personally, I was kind of upset there was no bricks.
Brick, 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 brick. It's fun. No idea. Didn't play any of the
Uh,
games.
in Well, I played the first one, never played the second one. And because like in this kind of game, obviously you have like very little ammo. Basically, if you run out, good luck. So one of my main weapons in that game was a brick. You can hit people over the head with it. You can use it as a distracting sound for clickers, definitely for clickers, and it's just a good friend to have.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Infernal's favorite utility item for the zombie apocalypse will be a brick. So stock up on bricks, and there's your business, because he will be a proprietor of purchase. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like he would lose his brick every now and again, so he would need to have a supply.
I did lose a brick a lot.
See, there we go. The other one, let's see here, we have is Resident Evil. That is a good story in the horror genre that has come up. And
Yeah, it's definitely been a popular one, especially with how many remakes we're getting.
and outside of games, the story of how the moonwalk came to be, um, and that's a pretty entertaining story. So if you ever get a chance, go look into that. It's fun.
Like the moonwalking, like Armstrong and all that,
No,
or
MJ,
okay, what MJ?
Michael Jackson.
Okay, that one. That's why I needed to confirm because like my brain's like at 25 to maybe half capacity right now, so that's why I needed to confirm.
Hilarious. And another one that is pop culture, that's a fun one, is a documentary of Carlos Santana at Woodstock
Oh wow.
and what happened there. That that was a fun story. Um, so yeah. So what would be your pick?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know why. The first thing that came to mind was the Shadow of the Hedgehog video game.
Well, there you go. Always go with your first gut. That's usually the one you want to run with.
Like, because I always question it because I'm like, does this meet the topic? But whatever. Because like I don't know. To me, it's like whenever you like, there's countless Sonic games out there, but it's like if I remember, like there is only like one Shadow the Hedgehog game, and it was that one with guns. Um, just hilarious when you actually see
My blicky
it. Basically,
on that dresser. Yeah, no, it's freaking hilarious. God, that was such a funny meme to me of all the various anime that it's like they have a power system and then someone uses a gun. Is it is very very common and it's hilarious when you like look it in the face of
even
like
better
how
when
much.
when it's Death the Kid.
Oh yeah, like his is that one was a little bit less like overt to the thing because like it was multiple power systems. Like it was the one thing, but it manifested as many things. So like him having guns is not weird.
It's not weird, but the adding that song on top of it.
Hilarious, pure unadulterated gold. But what popped everything off for me was Fire Force and the
Yeah.
lieutenant.
Oh
Everyone with
Jesus.
with cool kinetic firepower is this guy, and it's him just unloading on somebody.
Yep. God. Fire Force is such a good series. It for those listening, if you haven't watched it, definitely recommend it. Hopefully, it gets to season 3 soon. And if you are a fan of mangas, definitely read the manga
Um,
because both sources are great.
yeah, good stuff in that front. Let's see. For me, oh God, I
Please have that
would.
be a season 3.
Yeah, no, you need to say don't be a season three, so that way the universe will prove you wrong. Um, reverse voodoo psychology or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a
Please,
game one that
please,
I'm thinking of
no,
now.
no game like season 2.
And the obviously my biased is Rangers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as and which is hilarious as the amount of holes that are in that story. God, what do you want? I'm
Uh,
busy. Oh my goodness. Um, Murray literally texted me. I was like, you know what
so
I'm doing.
unprofessional.
So unprofessional. But you know what's wild? It was Mermaid. She's literally in the other room.
She can literally just walk over.
It well, she I have the door closed or whatever, but she literally could have waited to send that picture. It's Zuko in his new arrangement in the room. So hopefully he gets some. He'll actually go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep. Um,
She was way too excited.
well, he gets excited being around her, but I think that's just females in general. Um, and that's just him being a dude. And so, but yeah, it for the most part it has a pretty solid, flow of the of the story, and that's saying a lot because its original counterpart just it was nonsensical beyond reason. The original Super Sentai was just freaking crazy. Um, let's see for games. I'm trying to. While I was still keeping up with it, I would say the Fortnite because and until recently everything was very neat and tidy
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed the twists. So like when you thought you had it figured out, that wasn't the case. Case in point being the heroes and villains season. And so everyone's thinking it's like, oh, it's heroes and villains. It's like this is super beings, is whatever. And the plot twist being it's a freaking movie. The
Yeah,
whole
that was
season is a
hilarious.
movie, and everything's a prop and this whatever. And then twist number two, the rocket's real.
Yep.
Like it's not a prop anymore. It the scientists is turned it into a real rocket under the noses of those who were working on the film. and you're just like, oh snap, like that's
It should be
crazy.
going down.
And then, as it continued with like the reality breaking, and like when you find out what the island actually is, it gets a little touchy and weird when you start adding into the like the 0 point and understanding what that's all about. But
The 0 point is the key.
and the lock and the door and the house and it all busted down.
Yep.
Uh,
Where is actually? I don't even know where the 0 point is these days.
it we're out. No, it should be what's pulling
Oh
the
yeah,
map
it's in the
together
middle.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the middle
Um, yeah, it's where
again.
before we. Well, it's always in the middle. Everything else just formed around it. Um, it's just exposed again. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Um, and so
Stop waking it up.
yeah, it was like, but of course, like it's a very abstract, concept, so you can't expect, too many details to go in it. And again, this is a story that's being told via a battle royale, so that means of a method of telling a story and like keeping things going as time progresses or whatever. Outside of the nonsense of them adding the various characters or whatever, they're just doing that for the sake of doing it. But
Yeah, like right now with the Attack on Titan
um,
collab.
yeah, and but other than that, like it's pretty solid and entertaining, at least in my opinion. Um, the what's the other one? Before it got super convoluted, because time it's just been Warframe, and
Yeah, I can't even say anything about that one.
war it because so the thing with Warframe is that it's the main story unfortunately gets lost only because of the fact that there is just so much to the game now from when it started. So like when I remember when I first started playing Warframe, it was a few planets and you know, the like maybe a little bit of in game. But because the planets themselves had like 18 or so different things to do per like location, you were
Yeah,
pretty much set. So like you wouldn't go through a lot of that. But
I think last time I loaded up Warframe, I think like now like the entire solar system's there, plus some like extra areas that
um,
are just I don't know, like different universes or something. I don't know.
there's like a war and all this that happened, and then like there, yeah, but it only becomes that way when you're coming into it. If you were there while it was happening, it was a lot easier to digest and understand. But coming in later, like if you were to just pick it up new, it wouldn't make any sense. And that's just a circumstance of time because the game's been around for a while. So it's just like
Like, I
it
remember the
is what it is.
first time I loaded it up again, and I forgot where it was, and I I don't know if I'm just bad at reading the UI, but it's like I'm like, where the hell am I supposed to go? 'Cause, like there's so much that pops up on the screen. I'm just like I have no idea what I'm looking at.
I know when you first load into your ship, yeah, there's a lot, but usually if you go into a mission, it's pretty straightforward. Even if you don't know where you're going, go towards
Well,
the
yeah,
enemies.
like the oh yeah, like like missions themselves are very straightforward. It's knowing which one's the next part of like the story you're doing. It's like
Yeah,
trying to figure out where that mission is. That's the
yeah,
annoying
no,
part.
because you can have so much available to you. So it is, yeah, that's just like I said, that's a side effect of time. But yeah, for the most part, like I said, it was pretty straight through in regards to that front, which leads us into a nice mini segue of the next thing being the unsung heroes. And this one I wanted came to mind more specifically of the characters of, and again, it doesn't have to do games or whatever, but it's just harder. It's harder with like shows, because like if you're not up to date on the show, you don't know everything about a character per se because you don't know if they'll show up later, this and whatever. At least with games, it's pretty like once they are introduced, minus Destiny, it pretty
Mm.
much gets, you know, their story either continues clearly or gets wrapped up clearly. Again, minus Destiny, because anyone who's listening to this will literally have a panic attack and be like, Exo Stranger. And I'm like, I know. I know.
Mm.
um,
I don't know why Rory from Doctor Who popped in my head.
because he is the pinnacle of unsung hero in all the facets. Unfortunately, it's very hard to go into depth of why, because that was like a whole season and a half of build up and
Build-ups and huge
character development.
spoilers.
And yeah, huge spoilers. Again, if you it's again, this has been it's been enough time, but
Well, then again, like I mean, it's like, how many years has it been since then?
I don't know, but it's with the Whovian fandom, it's very tricky because all the time, so it's either you see a bunch of like random things out of context for you if you're not like a Whovian. For example, hash marks. Hash marks scare Whovians. Why? Only Whovenians know. So if you
Mm.
see that in like a screenshot or like a scene from that, and you then read all the comments of everyone like panicking or whatever, then you're just like, oh, well, what's this about? But it doesn't really spoil anything for you. So there's a lot of if you know, you know content with Doctor Who. But the problem is that if you don't know and you're trying to explain something, it just it starts getting entangled with other stuff. So then you have to explain things. For example, to explain Rory, you have to explain Amy. And then to explain Amy, you got to explain number 11. And then explain number 11, you got to explain how 10 ended. And so you know,
Best Doctor.
yeah, you're just yeah, he's pretty much a lot of people's favorites. Um
He's coming back apparently.
I don't know. I've fallen off begrudgingly and
Oh, I fell off like near the end of 11.
um because I have this conversation all the time with people, but I'm gonna here we go. You know, to be PC or whatever. Trigger warning for I don't give a fuck about your feelings. Um, if you don't like this part, just kind of scrub.
please, please close your ears now.
Please just scrub through and play the guessing game of when you want to be. When you think we're done talking about this.
That's gonna be the worst. It's like they're gonna start to a point and it's just gonna be like just hotness right there.
Yeah. Well, that's on them. If you don't want to be an adult about someone having a conversation, then go be a non-adult somewhere else. Like I don't care. Anyways, so the reason why I fell off with Doctor Who is because 13 the way that they approached the series was not for me because there seemed to be too much of an agenda to be I don't want to say politically correct or like it was just too much like awareness of like social problems. So don't get me wrong. All of Doctor Who has made it a point to explain certain concepts that need to be addressed in a interesting way like with like you know like you under the guise of sci-fi or whatever. Like you have the you know the Centaurans, which are you know basically a bunch of commies.
The Ood.
You have yeah the Ood, which is you know just a collective mind of like what all these other people view as sheep, but in reality they're you know this peaceful and a more highly intelligent race of people like beings, um but you know just got the short end of the stick because some you know they got separated from their you know essentially their homeland, and now they're just stuck with the lot of life of being this basically a slave race. um so that's always a touchy subject of getting over that concept, and like, okay, this is a thing that happened. Also, these feelings of inferiority and superiority still exist, so it's like it's not like it's gone. um but it wasn't overt. Like when the Ood were around, it wasn't overt. Like, obviously it's clear that they're talking about a race being slaves. It's clear because they're a slave race, but they're not always bringing up, oh, they're slaves, they're slaves, they're slaves, they're slaves, they're slaves, whatever, right? It's other people reacting to that concept. You have the people who are like, oh, it's the norm. What does it matter? You have the people who are like, oh, they're happier this way. And then you had the ones who are like, well, we're making them do less than what they would have been doing somewhere else, so they're living a better life. The rationalization of this idea in these people's minds based off of their standing. And you're like, okay, but again, that's subtle. Seeing how someone, that idea that you like, we as humans will rationalize anything. If you don't have the mental fortitude to go against the idea, you will rationalize it in your head, and that's the problem. Like, you given enough time and a lack of commitment to a proverbial right or wrong, you can make anything okay in your mind. And so that's a something that is being shown via these conversations. But with 13, it just seemed like there was so much conflict for no reason. Like, for example, there's she and then there was a lot of like they're trying to break the norm too much. So like, typically, you had the Doctor being male, and it's come up as like, why is he always male? I was like, well, he's not, canonically he hasn't always been male. We just haven't seen him as a female. But then also, why does it have to, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Doctor. Like, why do you have to have the Doctor be a female? Why can't you have another prevalent character be a female and bring that aspect into it, which we get with 12 and the Master turning into Missy, which was the
That's
greatest,
that's so hilarious to hear about.
the greatest thing ever. Like, it was such a good transition of character, right? Like, it was, because up to that point, the Master is just like hell bent on just ruining the Doctor, right? It's just, I will do everything in my power to show you that your belief system and what you do is not worth it, and everything you're working for, like, is gone, or these people will turn on you, and this, that, and the third, right? And then you finally have, that big climax of him with the Doctor, and out of literally the last action of spite, he dies. And it's literally out of spite. He, in that, like, their
He chose to
relationship,
die.
yeah, he chose to die. Like, wanted he wanted to hurt the Doctor so bad that he literally fought his essence, not even just like a state of mind, like essence. Like, regeneration is the essence of a Time Lord. He fought that natural reaction to put the nail in the coffin that I don't want you to have your way. And that is just crazy to think about. That, like, the resolve of someone, and like having that level of like hatred towards a particular person, that you're willing to literally die so that they're not happy. That's not petty. That is just yikes.
That's dedication.
Yeah, there you go. Like that is dedication to the cause of hurting someone. And so you have that play through or whatever, and then you have like your clip scene or whatever of how that like the transition happened. And then Missy shows up, right? And now you have this classy, still self-centered, but a acceptance of the reality, like version of himself as Missy, but he's still, again, still single target of the Doctor. Like she's still after her goal in relation to him. And granted, it changes, but it's it's still kind of crazy. And with 12 was a lot more like emotional and like mental with him, because that's like all the people who were like close to him are died or like moved on or both, and he's basically having a midlife crisis, if you will. Like that was Capaldi, and frankly,
a a 12th life crisis in that case.
yeah, 12th life crisis. Well, it's a 12th life midlife crisis, because it's not like when he was like in the beginning. Like it just kind of like gradually you could tell like he's dealing with the results of what's has happened up to this point. He kind of finds another companion, um, and but like that companion's not really a companion. It's more like a stand-in kind of deal, and like that whole bit with her. But it was still always a him dealing with the emotional toll of everything. And there's a scene where they have where it's like the relationship between the Doctor and now Missy, but still still being the Master, is like the definition of it's complicated. And like so like the companion, I think it was Clara, I think that's what her name was.
Yes, Clara.
She's like looking at a device or whatever, and she was like, it was like, oh, what is this? I was like, oh, it's from our people. It was like, this is for like when someone dies, blah blah blah, or something like that. And and Clara tries to open it, and Missy is like, no, what do you give that here? Like, who do you think you are? Like, I'm literally his best friend.
Mm.
And then you just have this realization of, you're like, oh shit,
not wrong.
wait, you're right. Like, you're right. Like, and then like you can like internal or whatever. It's like a lot of people's like best friendship is you're pretty awful to your best friend. Like, you'll do anything and everything for them, but like you're pretty awful to your best friend. Like, your best friend knows too much.
You will fight them.
Knows way too much for you to let them free. So you're kind of like holding them hostage, but it's the same on the other side, because they know that you know too much about them to be let out into the wild. So you're like mutually holding each other hostage in this situation of, we've been in through too much for us to end it. So we're just stuck. So like you have these times where, you just don't, like, you either don't interact with them, you don't talk with them, whatever, but as soon as you link back up, it's like nothing ever happened. And so it's like, you guys are best friends. Like, have you not if there hasn't been a time where you wanted to just strangle your best friend's neck, you're not best friends. Like the saying goes, is like, if it bothers you, it's because you care.
Well, hopefully Sacred's not listening.
No, like no, he's wanted to mangle you more than enough times, and vice versa. So like, no, you guys are definitely best friends. Honestly, more than that, I'm pretty sure I'm with Sacred on this one, that you guys are reincarnated partners of some sort, because this is This is ridiculous. Um, who knows? We'll see on the next life run of the debacle. um, and so with 13, it seemed like they were trying to break too many molds at too much up front. So it's like you have a female doctor. All right, cool. When she regenerated, everything kind of goes like sideways, but it's like now she doesn't have anything. So she was like, oh, she has to make her own stuff, which is it seemed very like, oh, women have the ingenuity kind of thing or whatever. I was like, okay, but like,
I mean, that's just the knowledge of a Time Lord.
but yeah, like it seemed, I don't know, I could just be completely off base with this with my hyper critical like viewpoint of the world and how much I hate people, but it just seems like they were trying to go with this whole she can do more than her previous selves now, and I don't know, it was just
Which
really,
I mean that would not make sense because like they're still technically the same person.
I know, and so it was really weird, and like she had like a collective of companions at a point, so it's like
They're
this
trying to
one,
bring back David Tennant's companions, like because he had a lot of companions.
yeah, but they were never at the same time.
Exactly.
But this is the same time, so it's like
Mm.
there's this black kid who has issues with his step grandfather who's white. Like, it was so aggravating. I was like, why is there this much tension? So it's like, so
I I also saw clips of the 13th Doctor and saw like pretty much like every other episode, she would just be like going against what she said in a previous episode, which would just completely like derail everything and make no sense.
yeah, there was, yeah, like I said, there was a lot of things. So it's like you have this black kid who's, who, and again, it's very dealing with a lot of stuff too soon. So you have the black kid who's being raised by his grandmother, which, being the case, I understand you don't fully understand the prevalence of that, but the it's that, and then his grandmother has remarried to the white guy, and so they don't get along because he's like, you'll never replace him, this, that, and the third. I was like, all right, I get it, blended family kind of things never work out, whatever. But I was like, he's a grown ass adult at this point. Like I think he's like 20 or something. I could be
Mm-hmm.
wrong on that, but like he's an adult. Like you can be civil with someone you don't like without egregiously
Act like a child.
acting like a child. Like you were making an effort to show that you did not accept this man, and he's just out here trying to be a part of your life because you are important to the woman that is important to him. Like like it was too much. And then you had the Indian girl who was like a rookie police officer who I think was trying to like prove herself or whatever. So I was like, okay, but like why? We already had that with Amy. Like,
That's true.
cause
She was a police officer.
yeah, she was a police officer, kind of like being under appreciated, like, or looked over or whatever kind of deal, and like not being taken fully serious. Like she was kind of getting like the odd jobs or whatever. So I was like, so why are we doing this again with the companion? Like I don't understand. Like we've had all these original ideas of like occupation with his companions, and I remember I was talking with my coworker about it, that a lot of the companions after like Martha were very kind of like won't be missed almost. Like Amy being gone from like the police force seemed to not have been like very effective, because it's like she eventually left like completely. Like that's kind of like a no show, like no call no show resignation kind of situation. Like yeah, they could
Yeah.
have come back at the time that they left or whatever, but like she just wasn't going to work anymore, so she just kind of disappeared. But they never like had an episode
Didn't she
where
become like a model or something?
I don't fully remember. Um, and so it's like you don't have her being like missed. You don't see like the consequences of her disappearing outside of like her parents. But like even then, it was still they knew where she was going kind of deal. Like they knew what was happening. Same with Rory. He was a nurse, and so that's an important job, and he disappeared. But we didn't backpedal on that, being like, "Yo, what's going on with this front?" But see, like um, with like Rose, she was just kind of like grunt worker essentially, and really didn't care about her job. She was just like, it's whatever. And then you know her job got attacked, so she kind of was able to like slip under the radar. And then, but her being gone was, you always saw the effect of that. You saw the effect of it with her mother. You saw the effect of it with what's, I'm blanking on his name, Mickey,
Oh
um
yeah.
who
Oh,
was her,
Mickey.
yeah, who was her boyfriend at the time. So you saw the effect of, it's like, hey, you're literally running away with this random guy and just leaving me here and expecting me to just be here. So like we got that, like, yeah, like socially wise, she could just disappear or whatever, but we still got the effect, the result or whatever. Martha, her being trained for a doctor, her family constantly butting in, and her mother, her sister, her father, because they were separated, them, how they're reacting to her disappearing with the doctor and coming back with the doctor and only hearing about the doctor when, but she actually came back though. Like she would come back, go back to work, finish school, like do all this stuff in between. But like after that, you had like Amy and Rory, they just disappeared. You
Well,
had
they died.
I meant from like their plot in
Oh,
life. Yeah, they
well,
died, but they died of old age. They lived their life.
yeah, I know the Weeping Angels and all that.
Like that wasn't like the way you made it sound like they got murdered. No, they just lived their life.
Technically.
Not even technically, they did. Like that's all what happened. They got teleported to another time, lived their life out. There you go.
Yeah, Weeping Angels. They murdered them.
It was if
That
it was
one
on the
time.
ship, then if they disappeared on the ship, then yes, murdered, because Angel Bob.
Poor Bob.
Poor Bob indeed. Poor motherfucking Bob indeed. Um, but yeah, so
Oh, jeez, it's more the Boston Narada.
yeah, that was like Donna.
Yeah.
Donna, like hers was so good. Like everyone, like we got every response of her existence, of disappearing and like coming back or whatever, because it's like she was working. Her, the thing with her, she was engaged. She was at the altar when we started with her.
That episode was great.
And so it's like,
Oh, poor Donna.
there
Poor
was
everyone, honestly.
there was so much. No, poor Donna, when she finds her actual like soulmate. That was poor Donna.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Dr. Donna.
and like, yeah, the whole thing with being Dr. Donna, like all of the companions had such a powerful effect on the Doctor, and but it wasn't just like the way that they wrote 13. Like I don't know if she just got the bum rap because Moffat's gone. I think a lot of the original writers are gone, and it's just like a new crew, and she just got the bad end of the stick. And
I
that's
really
what it
think
was.
that is the case because, like, I don't think we can say anything bad about the actor. Like, I really feel like whoever was directing for the 13th and writing for the 13th Doctor just did not do a good job.
But like it, but what percentage do you give leeway to? Is when it comes in, because it's like,
I say 50-50.
But well, then 50-50, I'm still half pissed at you.
Well, yeah, not fully pissed though.
Half pissed is still pissed enough. Like that's
Yeah,
not
fair
enough of a give, because like you can. What was it? There was another. What is it? What is it? The. Have you seen The Good Doctor?
Good Doctor. That's the one with the doctor has a mental condition, right?
He's autistic.
Yes, I've seen that.
All right. On paper, right? It's just like any other of the motherfucking Doctor shows. It's the same. It's literally cut and paste, just like any of the other ones, right? It's
Yeah.
on paper, pretty shitty writing. It's here's the hospital. Here's your top echelon doctors with their various nurses and
House.
yeah, like House or whatever. But at least with House, there was more of like personalities with that. But like I'm talking
Oh,
about like
yep.
Grey's Anatomy. Like it's literally about the same six motherfuckers. I swear.
Mm.
And like their interactions with the other people, whatever. But it's like, and then you have your various episodes. But like it collectively, it's pretty basic, right? Same with like
Yeah.
the cop ones. It's just here's the new guy or here's the new girl. Here's the the that team that doesn't always follow like by the book kind of stuff. Like it's very basic, but the actors make it, right? It
Yeah.
they're the ones who make it the shows that they are. Like the Rookie, like people love the Rookie. You give me the synopsis of the Rookie, I don't want to fucking watch that.
Mhm.
But you show me a scene of Nathan playing the hell out of his character, I get stopped all the time. Like I stop and like passively watch it all the time because of Nathan, like how good of an actor Nathan is. So it's like you can have a non-impressive story to work with and still make it impressive. That and then I really don't want to give her too much slack because it's like you're going into a show that is so popular, like has such a strong fandom that has spanned for so many generations because you had
Yep.
the original Doctor Who, like all of those who built this idea of like this new sci-fi
When
show
did
that
the
was
OG Doctor start? It's like the 50s?
I don't isn't that far back? We have the internet.
Yep. The power of the Googles.
All right, let's see. We got IMDb, Doctor Who. All right, so let's see. Let's see if it tells me if it goes back far enough. So the new, so so the Christopher Eccleston era starting is 2005.
The first Doctor, 1963.
So the 60s.
Yes.
So you got essentially going from the 60s till now. I know there was an in between 8 and 9 before it got rebooted. But it spans so much. And then you have the characters from the old ones were still around come back through and play their roles and whatever. So it's like that this is a uniquely established fandom and
Rose.
show, and you have to bring your A game.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like she didn't. That's what it ultimately comes down to. I feel like Jodie didn't bring her A game to her doctor, and it and I feel like it was covered up with the whole her breaking the norms of the show instead of it like being carried by her. Like it was
Yeah.
just like a lot of yeah, I don't know. I really don't. And
Yeah.
and that's
But
what upsets me because it's like I would like to give the guy who comes after her a chance.
funny
Um
you mention that. So, uh, so for the 14th Doctor, it will be David Tennant. David Tennant will be returning to the role. For a short bit. I think he's going to be there for like a special,
yeah.
and then it's going to lead into the 15th Doctor, who will be a new person. I don't know his name.
I'm still
Um,
going with he's 14. I'm still going with him being 14 and David just does a sub in.
that's fair enough.
A mini generation regen. Like
that's fine. Honestly, I'm just happy David Tennant at least gets to play the role again
So
because like I said, like he is my favorite Doctor.
yeah, um, so I really would like to give him all of the.
It's like I hope he does a good job.
I do
But
too, but again, I hope it's not a thing of, oh, he's this, like it's a black guy kind of
yeah,
deal, and that's like, oh, it's not because it's like, no, I don't. Apparently, he's like a prevalent actor, but I'm just like, can we? I just want your A game. That's all I
yeah.
care about. Just give
It's like
me your
I
A
don't care
game.
what you look like as long as you pull off the role well. That's all I
Like
care about.
make it yours, and I don't think she did that, and that's why I'm like begrudgingly mad about like falling off, because it's like there's so much of the story that I don't have now because I just can't watch the rest of it of what I've gotten through because I've like passively um watched up to this point kind of stuff or whatever. But okay, enough of the ranting.
Hey, it's not a day of the Dragon's Den if there's no rant.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like if there's not a rant somewhere happening in the den or whatever, but it's like, so we're going to kick it fully. We're going to finish this conversation after we end recording. But I want to start it here just to give our members a taste and maybe some input. Uh, Next year's con. So we've already established that me and Mermaid are not doing our usual 4-day retreat, if you will, that we usually do for our anniversary, um, due to mainly our plans with the family. So it will be we'll be out with Nightwolf and Mother and Munchkin and at that time husband, um, and so that that won't be the big thing, but before it was posted of the time, I said I wanted us to do a panel. So,
Yep, I remember that.
how far along into the thought process? Because I know you guys have been kind of more focused with like the move, but more of like a back burner idea plant of the plan for next year. Like, do you see you and Magma and Attica, as we have given her new name? Um,
I'm still leaning towards Bob.
if you so choose to call her Bob, then that's between you and her. But the official name that was selected on the episode, uh, her persona in the Dragon's Den would be Attica.
Okay.
Um, so that's between you and her. Um,
Babica.
and so I'm so done with you. So that being said, of if you guys are attempting to do the 4 days again, partial days, like is it too early, or because per usual, whenever I opt out of something, that's when everybody else wants to opt in.
Yeah, for some reason,
Um,
looking at Fortnite this season.
because
Um,
because you secretly hate me. That's what it comes down to. You just secretly
no.
hate me. Don't do it secretly. Just outwardly do it. That way, I don't have to call you fake.
If I hate someone, I will say it.
Yeah, and yeah, So yeah, so I've been having, I started with Nightwolf, discussing about doing a panel of trying to figure it out what days I wanted to do it, because I don't, like I said, we're not attending this year, like this coming year, so I don't want to be there that much. So it's like, but I want to do two panels. So like maybe one like in the beginning of the day and like one closer to like the end of the day, or maybe like the morning and like afternoon, and then be like done with it kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's a lot of back and forth that I'm having issue with, because it's like, if I choose Thursday, I go after work and would, go do them Thursday, and it'd be like, okay, so I really only have to worry about, finding parking, just hanging out on the Thursday, right? But then I'm like, but I don't want to take Friday off because I'm not going to want to go to work.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be a long ass day for me. I'm not going to want to get up again Friday.
Honestly, the way I see it, um, like I know you want to do the podcast next year, but at the same time, I feel like just because of the timeline for the convention, we may just need to push the idea to the following year.
And with that then that's what I was saying, and as cool that you brought that up, that was another of the problems, because the reality is that if I don't do it this coming year, when I don't want to do the con, I don't see it happening anytime soon, because that was pretty much what stemmed the idea, was that I want to do something different, and I don't want to put in, because like, if we push to the next year, then we're going to be back on our regular schedule of it being our anniversary thing, because it's still our anniversary thing. It's still the thing that we do for our anniversary. So that would have given us enough time, because next year we're going on a cruise as the event of the year, and so we're saving up for that and blah blah blah. But the following year, that would have gotten enough time to build all of the new cosplays, because that will be a solid year of Star Rail being out, so we should have access to a bunch of the characters as cosplays. And I obviously won't be a part of it like next year of the like dropping, where it's like, but I feel like it's gonna be like Genshin, it's not gonna die down. I just see it picking up and keeping going, so I'm gonna want to be a part of that. Like, I'm gonna want to
it's
do
like I don't think Star Rail's gonna be like how Tower Fantasy was. Like I feel like people still play Tower Fantasy, but like obviously it could not compete with Genshin.
Yeah.
But
so I'm like looking forward to that, like all that stuff. My Munchkin had like given me an idea. She wants me to do Static Shock, so I'm doing that. The following year, that's going to be a big one for me getting right, because at that point, however long my hair is, getting my hair done, getting that, I'm saying. And so as much fun as it would be to do the panel, I don't want it conflicting, because you have to submit being the panel firsthand, and then you get put on the schedule. I want to make my experience based off of the other things that are going to be going on. And so like that was a problem that came up. I was like, I don't see myself doing it, because I want to be doing the stuff I do when I do my cosplays. I'm going to be going to I wanted to go to the meetups. I rarely go to a lot of the panels when it's like big, it's meetups, red carpet, photo shoots, like with random people.
But also, I mean,
and occasionally a celebrity.
Yeah, but also doing a panel like in full cosplay, like, hey.
Well, yeah, but the logistics of it makes it that it falls lower on my priority list. The other stuff of it, it's going to be like, okay, getting the, obviously it's going to be hotels, whatever. It's like, but again, because it's our anniversary thing, I'm going to want, like, ideally, I'm going to be with Mermaid for the time. Like, it's supposed to be us celebrating our, being together for, at that point, that would be year 4.
Hey, you can bring Ursula onto the panel.
Well, yeah, but whatever she's doing at the time or whatever. So it's like, and hopefully we're bigger by then. So it will be more than 4 people.
Spread the word, people.
Yeah, spread the word. Like, we're trying to pop off here. So there's a lot of, like, I'm, as they say, like, manifesting it. Like, I'm manifesting enough to, like, become more successful.
Give Dragon a reason to focus on the panel during his anniversary.
Essentially what it is. Like, make me want to do the panel and the thing, because otherwise I want to be like you guys in having, like, be a part of the people and, like, not sitting up at a table talking at you guys. Like, I would love to do that, but, like, that's only if there is actual, like, reason to do so. Like, because as it stands, as we're still building and we're still like gathering our like audience or whatever, we don't know for sure how many people are going to show up for that. So I would rather do it at a time where I'm just like, I'm just here for this. What happens happens, versus, hey, I took time out of my schedule to do this. No one shows up. Now I'm a little salty. And I don't know. There's, like I said, there's a lot of discussion for it. It was just, I just wanted to put like this is where my brain is in regards to that for the future of the show, and things that I would like to do in regards to that. So that being said, we say goodbye to you. We hope you enjoyed the nonsense that is this episode. We are at we're a little bit over a month's worth of subscriber content now. So we've finally caught up to where I would like us to be. So we are basically a month behind, because we started the subscription service about a month after we started the regular show. So yeah, so all of the regular episodes double that of the subscriber episodes. So that's 5 episodes and counting. So that's 5 hours of content, give or take, that you're missing out on. And it's only $5. And it's not just the episodes, it's the Discord too for the month. And so you get to see the con photos, the con vlog, the once we get enough people, the live recordings, the one the chat sessions, the debriefs. We're trying to build it. We're trying to get things here for people to want to come to. So hop on while it's still,
And
still
like
fresh and new.
if you have any ideas or questions you'd like to ask us, drop comments to Dragon, and they'll most likely show up on the show sooner than later.
Yes. Blow up my DMs, please. We put
make his DMs cry.
Please, like, it's a sadist. Make my DM like feel pain. Like, I this is what I want. This is what I'm striving for. We leave the survey of like, what do you think? I do look at those. So if you want to do it that way because you don't have Instagram, do it on that. Also, last thing, big news. I reset my Apple password, so we're going live on Apple Podcasts soon.
Oh my god.
I was able to do that. And I'll tell you after we're done here, because, we're starting to get long on this one. So, yeah. So, check out the socials. Hit me up. Tell me what you think. Your comments on the episodes. Things that you may want to hear. Things you don't necessarily agree with. Whatever. Like, tell it. It's an open forum style show, so we want input from all that are listening, and I know you're listening. I see the statistics. Also, thank you guys, because the graph freaks me out every time I look at it when I see the giant spike of you guys like listening to the episodes, and it just makes me super excited. So thanks for that. And I'll wrap that up here, because I can just keep going. This is why I do this, because I can just run my mouth. But I'll have to stop myself because stuff. So hope you have a good rest of your week, rest of your day, rest of your week, whenever you listen to this. And until next time, I'm Dragon.
Bye bye.
I almost lost him. See you then.